Sirens pierced the night in Tel Aviv. Explosions lit up the sky like a thunderstorm of fire. But this was just the opening move. Tensions in the Middle East had already been running high. Then came the spark, a bold U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear sites, and suddenly, the region tipped toward chaos. In retaliation, Iran unleashed a massive counterattack. Hundreds of ballistic missiles and swarms of kamikaze drones targeted American and Israeli positions. The scale? Enormous. The message? Impossible to miss. With military forces rushing into position and threats flying back and forth, the entire world is holding its breath. Could this be the start of a full-scale regional war? Let's break it down. This is Navy Secrets. It all began on June 21, 2025. That's when the U.S. launched a daring, high-impact airstrike campaign aimed squarely at Iran's nuclear program. These weren't symbolic targets. They were the core of Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Facilities like Natanz and Fordo, both buried deep under layers of reinforced concrete and rock, were hit with bunker-busting bombs designed to do one thing: cripple Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon. Washington's message was crystal clear. A nuclear-armed Iran is not an option. But this wasn't a one-off operation. It was part of a much larger show of force. In the days that followed, the U.S. deployed nearly 40,000 troops across strategic locations in the Middle East. Alongside them came the muscle: F-16s, F-22s, F-35s, all ready to dominate the skies. Aircraft carriers took up position near key choke points, ready to launch rapid response missions at a moment's notice. The Pentagon described the buildup as a defensive move, meant to reassure allies like Israel and put Iran on notice. But in Tehran, it was seen as something else entirely. To them, it was an act of war. For Iran, the U.S. airstrikes weren't just another flashpoint, they were a red line crossed. In Tehran's eyes, it was more than an attack. It was a full-blown declaration of war. So they answered. Instead of retreating, Iran flipped the switch on a contingency plan years in the making. Operation True Promise. What followed over the next 11 days, from June 13th to June 24th, was nothing short of staggering. Iran launched more than 400 ballistic missiles and 1,000 armed drones in a coordinated, high-impact counteroffensive. These weren't just random weapons flying through the air. Every launch was part of a deliberate campaign, targeting U.S. military bases in Iraq, Syria, and across the Gulf, as well as strategic locations inside Israel. For the first time ever, Iran brought out its newest generation of missiles, not for testing, not for show, but for real combat. This wasn't just a response, it was a message, and that message was loud and clear. We're not afraid to hit back, and we can hit hard. This changed the game. Until now, many saw Iran as reactive, cautious, more bark than bite. But this massive, coordinated missile assault showed something very different. Tehran was ready to go toe-to-toe with the world's top military power, and it had the tools to do it. What the U.S. hoped would be a warning turned into a line in the sand, and Iran stepped over it without hesitation. Now the stakes are even higher. The battle has entered a new phase, and the price of every move keeps climbing. To truly understand just how far Iran is willing to go, we have to look at the technology it just put on full display, starting with one of its most dangerous weapons. Meet the Sajil missile. This isn't your average rocket. It's a two-stage, solid-fuel ballistic missile with a range of over 2,000 kilometers, capable of flying faster than Mach 11. That's more than 8,400 miles per hour. And now it's been used in live combat. June 22, 2025, a missile tore through the night sky and struck an Israeli military facility with chilling precision. The weapon? Iran's Sajil missile, fast, accurate, and deadly. That impact wasn't just a loud explosion. It was a signal to the world. Iran had officially entered a new era of strategic warfare. This wasn't just a one-off show of force. It marked a shift, a warning that Iran's missile capabilities were no longer just threats on paper. And what makes the Sajil even more terrifying? It doesn't need hours of setup or visible launch prep. It can fire fast, almost silently, and land before anyone knows it's coming. That means almost zero warning and almost no chance to shoot it down. And here's the kicker. Intelligence analysts now believe the Sajil could be modified to carry a nuclear payload. No confirmation yet, but just the possibility is enough to send a shiver through every war room from Washington to Tel Aviv. But the danger didn't stop there. The very next day, June 23rd, Iran unleashed something even more advanced, the Haj Qasem missile. This wasn't just another ballistic projectile, it was hypersonic, designed to do one thing: outrun and outsmart every missile defense system in its path. And it worked. The Haj Qasem smashed into a high-rise building in Tel Aviv, leveling several floors and sending shockwaves far beyond the blast radius. For Israel, it was a wake-up call. A missile that flew faster than 5 times the speed of sound had just pierced their shield, the same shield that was once considered nearly impenetrable. Within hours, Israeli defense officials were scrambling, asking hard questions. Are our Iron Dome and David's sling systems enough? Or has the battlefield changed faster than they were ready for? Then came the third strike, June 24th, and it was the most calculated yet. This time, Iran fired the Emad missile. With a range of 1,700 kilometers and a 10-meter precision radius, it's one of Iran's most capable and battle-ready weapons. The target? An Israeli air base near Beersheba. The result? Damage to runways, hangars, and essential systems that kept fighter jets grounded and infrastructure in chaos. But the true danger of the Emad isn't just its accuracy, it's its adaptability. This missile can carry more than just explosives. It can be outfitted with EMP warheads designed to fry electronic systems, everything from radar to communications, or even chemical payloads capable of mass devastation. That kind of flexibility turns every launch into a terrifying guessing game. What's coming next? And can it even be stopped in time? All 3 of these missile attacks, Sajil, Haj Qasem, and Emad, weren't isolated. They were part of a calculated, coordinated strategy. Iran didn't just want to fire back, it wanted to redraw the balance of power in the Middle East. And it's doing it not with armies, but with advanced weapons that push past traditional defense lines. The message from Tehran was loud and clear. You thought you understood our playbook, but we've written a new one. And now, as allies scramble to respond and enemies reevaluate their own arsenals, the region stands at a tipping point. This isn't just tit-for-tat warfare anymore. It's a technological arms race. And Iran just made its opening move. The Sajil missile brings reach, and it's always ready to move. The Haj Qasem delivers with stealth and shock, flying under the radar and landing like a lightning strike. And the Emad? It's all about precision destruction, with a payload that can be tailored to the mission. This isn't symbolic posturing anymore. This is next-level warfare, a show of strength, strategy, and a clear willingness to raise the stakes. Iran's missile offensive has flipped the script. Suddenly, adversaries like the US and Israel have to rethink everything: how they defend, how they respond, and even how they interpret intent. The old rules no longer apply. The game has changed. And behind this transformation lies one critical advancement: solid fuel technology. To understand just how much of a game changer this is, we need to go under the hood, deep into the tech that's giving Iran this terrifying edge. The rise of the fast strike era. What makes missiles like Sajil and Haj Qasem so deadly isn't just their speed or range. It's their ability to be launched at a moment's notice. Thanks to solid fuel propulsion, these weapons don't need complicated fueling operations or long countdowns. They can be fired in under 5 minutes. Let that sink in. By the time radar systems detect the launch, the missile could already be halfway to its target, and that leaves almost no time to react, intercept, or evacuate. This level of speed and readiness turns every missile site into a potential first-strike weapon, whether it's hidden in a bunker, disguised in a convoy, or tucked away in the mountains. No trucks, no trails, no warning. Unlike older liquid fuel missiles, solid fuel systems are clean, quiet, and mobile. There are no massive fueling vehicles to give away the launch site, no long pre-launch procedures that give satellites a heads up. These missiles can sit in underground silos or be rolled out on mobile launchers anywhere, in the desert, in the hills, in the back of a warehouse parking lot. And when the time comes, they launch, fast, quiet, and deadly. The new Iranian doctrine, strike fast, stay hidden. For Iran, this isn't just about having better missiles. It's about changing how the game is played. With tensions running hot between Tehran, Tel Aviv, and Washington, Iran knows it can't match its adversaries plane for plane or ship for ship. But missiles, especially the kind that are hard to see coming and even harder to stop, that's a fight they can win, or at least survive. This is the foundation of Iran's evolving doctrine. Mobility over mass surprise, over symmetry, deterrence through unpredictability. And with weapons like Sajil, Haj Qasem, and Emad leading the charge, Iran isn't just posturing, it's sending a message. We can strike first, we can strike fast, and you won't see it coming. As military planners from Washington to Jerusalem scramble to adapt, one thing is becoming alarmingly clear. Iran's missile program isn't just growing, it's maturing. And the next round of conflict in the Middle East won't be decided by tanks and troops, but by who controls the skies and who can launch before the enemy even knows they're in danger. While Iran still keeps some liquid-fueled missiles in rotation, like the Emad, the shift towards solid-fuel technology is impossible to miss. It's not just a trend, it's a strategic evolution. Solid-fuel missiles are faster to launch, easier to store, and far simpler to deploy in large numbers. On the modern battlefield, that kind of flexibility is gold. These aren't just upgrades, they're game changers. And Iran is investing heavily, signaling a long-term commitment to reshaping its missile forces for both defense and offense. And it's not just about hardware, it's about intent. June 24th, 2025, a new kind of threat. That day, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, made a chilling announcement. Missile attacks on Israel will continue indefinitely. This wasn't just another threat, it was a declaration of endurance. Iran wasn't aiming for a knockout punch. It was settling in for a war of attrition, a drawn-out pressure campaign designed to wear down its enemy, piece by piece. A war that never sleeps by launching missiles with unpredictable timing, shifting targets, and relentless consistency. Iran is forcing Israel to stay on edge. Every minute of every day, the Iron Dome and other defense systems must remain on full alert, intercepting wave after wave. That 24/7 readiness doesn't come cheap. And it's not just the military that's paying the price. Schools are closed across southern Israel. Businesses are shuttered, workers stuck at home. Public morale is wearing thin, shaken by nightly sirens and daily uncertainty. Emergency budgets are ballooning just to keep up with fuel, repairs, and defense maintenance. What Iran is doing goes beyond physical attacks. It's strategic exhaustion. This slow-burn offensive is built to drain Israel's resources, disrupt daily life, and shake national confidence, all without ever needing to stage a full-scale invasion. Iran's playbook, pressure by design. This is where Iran's solid-fuel missile tech becomes more than a weapons upgrade. It becomes a lever of power. With fast launch capabilities and mobile platforms, Iran can keep pressure constant, unpredictable, and hard to counter. No long fueling process, no obvious pre-launch signs. These missiles can be fired from hidden bunkers, mobile trucks, or remote outposts at any time. That's the nightmare scenario, an enemy that can strike anywhere, anytime, and never runs out of breath. Iran isn't just launching missiles, it's trying to dictate the rhythm of the conflict, forcing Israel to react on Tehran's terms. And in this kind of fight, the psychological toll is just as serious as the physical damage. The bigger picture. This isn't about winning the war in a day. It's about wearing the other side down, bleeding resources and patience until cracks start to show. And if Iran succeeds in setting that tone, if it can keep its adversaries in a state of nonstop response, it may not need to escalate further. It will already have reshaped the battlefield. The question now isn't just, what's Iran going to hit next? It's, how long can Israel and the world keep up with this pressure? Iran now holds something more powerful than just firepower. It holds the clock. Its ability to control when and how hard it strikes is reshaping the battlefield and shifting the balance of leverage. As the conflict with the United States deepens, this isn't just about warnings anymore. It's a full-blown exchange of fire, and it's escalating fast. From signals to strikes. When Washington launched airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and rolled out tens of thousands of troops across the Middle East, it wasn't just making a point, it was flexing muscle. But Tehran didn't flinch. Instead, it fired back with precision, unleashing advanced solid-fuel missiles that reached deep into American and Israeli territory. This tit-for-tat has moved the entire region into a level of sustained combat that hasn't been seen in years. What was once a game of posturing, deterrence through display, has now shifted into real-time military engagement. And Iran is sending a clear message. If provoked, it's ready to go further. The expanding risk Iran's missile range isn't theoretical, it's proven. U.S. bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE are now well within striking distance. A single successful hit on one of these outposts could pull in other regional powers, rapidly turning this confrontation into a wider war. And yet, escalation isn't inevitable. The other path, temporary pause. With rising civilian deaths, global outrage, and severe economic aftershocks already surfacing, pressure is mounting for both sides to pause the fight, at least temporarily. There's a narrow window for diplomacy to step in. A ceasefire, if it happens, will likely come through neutral mediators like Oman or Qatar. It could give both sides a moment to breathe. But make no mistake, a pause is not a peace deal. It's a bandage, not a cure. The root issues, nuclear ambitions, regional influence, deep distrust, remain untouched. So any calm would likely be tense, temporary, and fragile. Two roads, one region. As things stand, the world faces two very real possibilities: a full-scale regional war that redraws alliances and hardens borders, a shaky stretch of back-channel dialogue that delays the next explosion, but doesn't prevent it. Either path comes with consequences. One reshapes the Middle East with fire, the other leaves a pressure cooker ticking under the surface. The bigger question, what's at stake here, isn't just territory, it's momentum. Who controls the rhythm of power in the Middle East? Right now, both Washington and Tehran are maneuvering to claim that control. And the world? It's holding its breath. Because the next move won't just define the future of this conflict, it could set the tempo for an entire region's next chapter.